Hello fashion lover, welcome back to the channel. In this channel I bring you tutorials on fashion DIYs from dressmaking, bag making and fashion accessories. Today's video is going to be on how I made this beautiful braided headband with a bow design. So if this is what you're interested in learning, keep on watching and please do not forget to hit the like button. If you're yet to subscribe, please subscribe and let's get started. The two main fabrics I'm going to be needing to make this braided hairband is my Ankara fabric and my fiber. So this is called fiber. This is what it looks like. You can get fiber from people that sell bed sheets and duvet. You can also get fiber from a furniture shop and get this from your old throw pillows or from your pillows. So I got this from a shop where they sell duvet, where they make duvet and bed sheets. So these are the places where you can get fiber. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to be cutting my Ankara fabric into 3 pieces like this. So I've gone ahead to cut my Ankara fabric into 3 pieces, and the measurement I have here is 38 inches by 5 inches. So the length of each of this fabric that I've already cut out is 38 inches by 5 inches. So the length is 38 inches and the width is 5 inches. So 38 inches is a standard measurement for an adult head, especially if you are the type that like putting on wig. But if you're on low cut or if you're not putting on wig, you can use 36 to 37 inches, but I would advise you use 37 inches to be on the safer side. One important thing I would like you to take note of: you don't need your actual head measurement to make this braided headband. You know we are going to braid this headband, and after braiding is going to reduce the length. So if you use your actual head measurement, you are going to have a very short band. That's why I advise you use about 36 to 38 inches for the length of your headband. So after cutting out your fabric into 3 like this, so the next thing we are going to do, we are going to take this to your sewing machine. So this is the right side of my fabric. I'm going to bring this together like this. So this is the right side. I'm going to fold it and I'm going to be sewing this straight from this end to the other end by 1/4 inch. So after sewing this by 1/4 inch, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use my pin to turn them out. So after turning the 3 of them out like this, it's time to start filling this up with my fiber. So I'm going to shred my fiber into wool. So you don't just go ahead and fix it like that. So we need to shred it into wool like this to make it look like a wool before fixing it in our fabric. So just go ahead and shred your fiber to make it look like a wool, just like this. So after shredding my fiber into wool like this, I'll start filling this up with my fiber. So be filling it little by little. So after filling it up halfway, I'll come to the opposite end and continue fixing from the opposite end. So please make sure your fiber inside is not too bulky. Make sure it's not so bulky. If not, your hairband will not look nice after making it. You can see mine is still flexible. So just make sure, use your fingers to arrange it like this and shift it wherever you feel is bulky. Just use your fingers to just adjust and just pull, so you can have a smooth hairband after making. So after filling up halfway, I'll come to this opposite end and start fixing again. So after filling up, it should look like this. So please make sure it's not so bulky. So just use your fingers and just go through it like this. There's anywhere you feel it's so bulky, just use your fingers to just adjust it. Please do not make it so bulky. If not, your hairband will not turn out nice. So you can see it's still very flexible. So I'm just using my finger to just reduce the places that are bulky inside. So this is just fine. So I'll go ahead and fill up the remaining two. So I'm done filling this up with the fiber. You can see how they are looking. So for this, I got half yard of fiber. So after making use of the half yard, this is what I have left. So half yard should be more than enough for this. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to be using my hand needle and thread to bring this together. So I'm just going to pick one of these. At this part where I have my stitches, I'll let it face up, and I'll pick the second one. I'm going to let this part that I have my stitches, I'm going to place it on the first one, and I'm going to pick the third one, and I'm going to place them together like this. So I'm going to use my hand needle and thread to sew this, but if your sewing machine can sew this, go ahead and use your sewing machine. But if you can't use your sewing machine, go ahead and use your hand needle to bring this together. So after bringing them together like this, I'll go ahead and start braiding. So you could get someone to help you hold this end, so it will be easy for you to braid. So I have someone holding the end for me. So I'll go ahead and braid this.
NCM Afrik-Ann.
So after braiding, when I get to the end, I'm going to bring the three together just the way I did at the beginning. I'm just going to bring the three ends together like so. After bringing them together, I'll be using my hand needle to sew them together. So after sewing this, I'm going to bring this together. I'm just going to overlap. I'm just going to overlap them together, and I will use my hand needle to sew them together. So after sewing together, you can see how firm and beautiful it's looking. So it's time to cover this part. So I'm just going to bring another piece of my fabric, and I'm just going to cut a little pieces of about 5 by 6 inches. So I'm going to take this to my sewing machine. I'm going to close this up. After closing this up, I'm going to turn out my little piece. So after turning out, before going ahead to seal up the rough part, I'll go ahead and create the design for this headband. So I'm going to be using this to make a bow design on my braided headband. So just make any design of your choice. So the measurement I have for this bowl is about 16 inches by 13 inches. So there's no definite measurement for this, depending on the size of the design you want. So I'll be using this wording to make my bow firm. So I'm just going to, I'll be ironing my wording on just one part of my bow. So I'm just going to fold this into two like this. And I'll be using this to cut out my wording. So since I want this on just one part of my bow, I'm going to take this to my ironing table and iron the part where I have my wording. After ironing my wording on the part where I want my wording to be, so this part that doesn't have wording, I'm just going to flip it backwards like this. So I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew the 4 corners by 1/2 inch. After sewing the 4 corners, I'm just going to cut out the sides a little so that those edges will be smooth when I turn this out. So I'll come back to this part. I'm going to separate my fabric. I'm going to separate these two like this. I'm going to use my scissors to open this up a little. I'm just trying to create a channel for turning this out. So just use your scissors to bring out all the edges. So after turning like this, I'm going to take this back to my ironing table and give it a very good press. So after giving this a very good press, I'm going to be forming my bow with this. So don't worry about this. By the time we finish forming our bow, it's going to be hidden. So I'm just going to keep this aside and I'll come back to the braided hairband. So remember these other pieces that we created to close up this part. It's time to seal up the rough part of our braided hairband. So I'm going to pick this up. So this part that doesn't have the stitch line, I'm going to place it on this like this, so you can see our stitch line is showing outside. So we'll be turning that in. We'll be turning that in later. So let me just go ahead and use my hand needle to sew this together. So after sewing, I'm just going to cut out the excess, leaving about 1/2 or 1/4 of an inch before my stitches. So after doing this, I'm going to turn this in. I'm going to do this. The essence of doing this is to hide the stitch line. As you can see, I've turned this in neatly. So the essence of turning this in neatly is in case you don't want to add any design to yours, you will still end up having a very neat headband. So if you feel this is a bit loose, just go ahead and tack it permanently to the headband so that it doesn't shift when you are making use of the headband. So I'm just going to tack this. I'm just going to make some hidden tacking. I'm just going to tack this permanently to the headband. So after tacking this to my headband, as you can see, I've used this little piece to cover up the rough parts of my headband. So it's time to attach the bow to this. So I'm just going to take my needle to the middle of this. Now go ahead and tag this to my headband. So I've gone ahead to attach the bow to the headband. So this is looking so beautiful, isn't it? Please let me know what you think about this tutorial in the comment section, and please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please do so by hitting the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you get updates anytime I upload a new video. Thanks for watching and see you in my next.